bag it. Thanks. Okay. Where's that Tom bag? Okay, very good. Just come. Hold this. No, just leave it, leave it. Your hands are bare. You shouldn't be handling trash bag. Yeah. Where's your gloves? Ah. Why? You cannot touch trash bag. You got a data sheet?
They're totaling up now.
Weighing station 2.
1.5.
This is 1.
This 2 and 3.
Okay. But they have the individual sheets, huh? Okay. Because must counter check the totally. Hang on, hang on. Okay, you twist that one. Okay. Because I found out when you twist both ends, the egg is trapped. And then, you know, when you push it out, the twisting comes out, yeah. So actually that one easier if 2 people do. No, you mustn't touch the scale. Ah.
I can see.
You let go, you release.
My eyesight is
No,
very
you
low.
release and you read. Oh.
Wait, which side should I read? 6.
Is this -1 or what?
-1. So
5. Because the scale starts at 1. Is it? I think no need lah. Very heavy, is it? Ah, no need to add the weight. Yeah, this bulky one no need.
Then want to use this one?
Let me keep my back straight. This one is what? Can you check there are no stores left behind as you walk out? So you see all the fine rubbish? This is where the tongs will come in useful at the next cleanup. Okay, we'll do a quick debrief before we shift everything up. Cut your losses. Very good. Okay, so you have the sheet for weighing station 3, weighing station 2. Okay, very good. You go over to, I think, weighing station 1. Can pass them. And then with the tongs, you go over. I will ask everyone to put. Thank you very much. We will give to Joyce. Or you can give to me lah. The scale, right? Okay. Thank you. Anyone with wing scale? Okay. Should we collect the wing scales? And then later the cutter from Adrian Lee. Okay everyone, can you gather here? We're going to take a photo. As you can see at the back it says state land no entry. I'll explain that. So gather around for the photo and the debrief. You got all the numbers? There she has 1 and 2. You can total up now. Yeah, and then I'll talk to them. Okay, so for the photo, you want to gather in. Arani, any? Okay. Huh? No, tell her stop now. Don't worry, got another cleanup. We cannot solve the entire problem on one day, and then there'll be more coming in. So, 27th of May, St. Andrews Junior School, the teachers, they want to do cleanup. So previously you put them at Pandan, but NUS High is going to Pandan on 11th of May. So I'll switch them here. And this is how we look after the sites. We coordinate year-round cleanups, and then people do a different sites. So we concentrate on this Lim Chu Kang, Pasir Ris 6, Tanah Merah 7. These are actually a bit safer sites. There are some sites which are deeper in. That one we have to do with groups which have got field training. That one a bit more dangerous. Sorry, what? Hey, careful, the septic. Okay. Gigaphone. Careful, you're dragging. Oh, this one need to reback. Oh, okay. You done with totaling or someone else doing?
Yeah, done.
Okay. You have wing scale?
3 wing scale.
So she take out glove to separate out the trash bag and then put it back on. Very, very important to do that because we never know when a sharp piece may be lurking and then can poke us. So we've not had injury during our coastal cleanups in relation to trash, right? Because we try to be very careful. Yeah, so while we're waiting, just a couple of notes. You realize, as she pointed out, the tide's coming in. So when we pick a date, it means the morning there's a low tide. And then about 3-4 hours later, the tide rises. So as we are finishing, the tide will come in. And how far can the tide come up? Can you guess where you're standing? So where the trash is deposited. So that is what we call a strand line. But people are now sometimes calling it a trash line. Because the strand line of pre-80s was largely organic. Wood, seeds, fruit from mangrove plants and beach plants, right? Natural things that we find in the ocean. But with the onset of plastic production in the 80s, it soon changed the whole profile. and by the 90s, it's a trash line, and that trash line is largely composed of plastic. So when you are picking up trash, right, what did you observe? Plastic bags, okay, and straws, bottles. These are plastic bottles, right? Styrofoam. So styrofoam is actually a name for insulatory padding, but we use the term styrofoam, right? So this is the technical name is expanded polystyrene, or EPS. Now this, interestingly, on the data card for the International Coastal Cleanup, they didn't include styrofoam. But we know from Singapore, styrofoam predominates in some area. In certain parts of Ubin, certain parts of the northwest coast, there's a lot of styrofoam. Changi Beach, Changi Beach Park, although it's cleaned twice a day, the green grass is now peppered with white spots. So due to the, a single piece of styrofoam can become a million billion pieces, right? When we count during the coastal cleanup, it's never accurate count now. But we agak, we know, okay, 20,000 pieces could be 50, right? But we give a conservative count. We know where there's more in certain parts of Singapore, more than others. But so I kept styrofoam on the data card for Singapore. And now many years later, they realized, hey, we don't just have a problem on large pieces of plastic. We have this problem of microplastic. So now they introduce on the data card, if anything smaller than up to this size, you must count, but it's too difficult. So I kept that out. We just carry on with our styrofoam count. And styrofoam is number one in Singapore. But guess what? As I go to Southeast Asia, it's number one in many places, whether they count or not. And if you don't count, you cannot acknowledge there's a problem. Now, in several countries around the world, Europe, US, and even in Malaysia, they are beginning to ban this expanded polystyrene styrofoam because they realize can't recycle it. So, and then it's very cheap, right? So everybody wants to use it. So government, I think Malacca has banned it already, and a few other states, they just announced. Of course, enforcement is another story, but my friend just went Malacca. Hey Joyce, you just went Malacca, right? So did you see styrofoam packaging? So another friend who also went recently also said he didn't see. This is very important. So that's top down, right? Bottom up, we can ask to eliminate. So there was a petition started by one guy to ask McDonald's, can you get rid of your styrofoam breakfast meals? Because they've switched to cardboard elsewhere. So it took several months, and then McDonald's responded. And MNC like McDonald's, very important, they got a chain, right? So for example, they shortened their plastic fork. It's a big saving in plastic production. No? So they save money, and we save a lot of plastic being produced for nothing. Now those objects you mentioned to me, a plastic bag, your bottles and all this, these are all what we call single use, right? Single use consumer plastic. So unfortunately, plastic is both a boon. I think if now you take away plastic from the equation, a lot of us will lose our clothes even. It's everywhere, no? All your dry fit and all that is plastic. So it's a boon, but it's also a curse because so much of it is entering the marine environment. Now what we see in this part of the coast, what we see is largely coming from fish farms offshore and from Johor. Right, there's no doubt about it. If you study the water movement, you can see the trash, right? Imagine the amount we have here, imagine in Johor how much there is. So if you go into Johor and you look at land use, you find that their solid waste disposal is not as efficient. You have a lot of places which are still like 70s kind of kampong. Now if you think about Singapore River, in the 70s it was black in color. The Potong Pasir residents call it the dead chicken river. And during certain massive floods, pig carcasses will float down all the way to Collier Quay, right? That's the state you have in southern Johor in many places still. But Johor is undergoing a transformation. There's this major project Iskandar. It's causing a lot of grief. Century-old kampong is reclaimed around them. They can no longer see the sea, and there's a lot of social issues. Actually, all this happened in Singapore. But given that development is going to happen, we can't change it. The good thing there, you can see that sand for reclamation. The good thing is, eventually they're going to have waterfront properties. They are inviting foreign universities to set up shop, industry and all that. Sultan Johor said Singaporeans are going to be working in Johor in the future, right? So with Project Iskandar, and all the reclamation companies are the ones that used to work in Singapore. So the expertise is very good. When they have all these waterfront, they're not going to be wanting to see solid waste floating in front of them. So then it will work downstream. They will introduce more efficient system. Eventually, so what we saw happening in Singapore in the 70s, 80s, 90s will happen here. So I've had to we work very hard to conserve Chek Jawa, and to our surprise the government agreed, let's conserve it. But the original state of Chek Jawa in 2001, we were doing the surveys, we've never seen that condition since, because there's a lot of pollutants coming out of Sungai Johor. Right now, we can't just blame the Malaysians for everything lah. So if you look at a place like East Coast, right, cigarette butts which won't float out to sea, get 8,000 during 90 minutes of a coastal cleanup. Where's it coming from? Coming from land. So one day I was sitting down with my students, I just look around. I realized the whole area is littered with cigarette butts. And this is a place that's cleaned twice a day. So cigarette litter, interestingly, global marine trash is number 1. In Singapore is number 4. Our number 1 is styrofoam. Now styrofoam is a problem elsewhere. Korea and Japan, which are very clean, largely very clean, they're very good recycling, they are so angry because they have styrofoam all over their shores. And oyster culture in Korea, if you pass by certain bays, you see as if there's a sea of footballs out at sea. It's actually styrofoam buoys, big ones, and then suspended from it, the oyster culture. So as these styrofoams degrade with time, it's chipping off. So the coastal cleanup there, people there are very upset because nobody cares. So I was quite surprised. I thought you're very into 3R. They said they don't see, they don't know, so it doesn't become a problem. So the NGO, together with citizens, are slowly pressurizing government. You got to do something about this. So it's just a normal situation. Now I show you what citizens can do. In NUS canteens, we had styrofoam containers. So the students got together. These are it's a group called SAFE, and then they approached the university campus infrastructure, and then they got styrofoam ban, in our canteen, so it was reduced to the take-away packet, right? And then if you ask for plastic bag, you have to pay 10 cents. Of course, IKEA was ahead of us, right? IKEA started all of this even earlier. In fact, from the 10 cent that they save, they gave me $16,000. We hire interns like Joyce. Joyce, you're the 4th or 5th intern. I think they're very shocked. I think they thought we used up all the money in the first year. Made it last 4 years. And this is just from the 10 cents that people paid in order to have a plastic bag, right? And then they hopefully train them so that they don't want the plastic bag. We give out 1 billion plastic bags every year, right? So NTC only dare try like once a week at most, right? A bit scared of consumer kickback. So consumer action and will can direct government action. Singapore, we haven't banned styrofoam